South Africa take on India in the first T20I, and we are going to be previewing the entire T20 series. That's what we're going to be doing on this show. We're back to our previews again. Cricket's back. So Cricket Fanatics magazine will be covering all of that again. So really excited about that, and you guys being involved, of course. Join our preview shows, join our review shows as well after each individual game. That's where you'll get some insight into what we will be doing and what our thoughts are about everything. So that's very important that we do that. You join everything, and the only way you know about all of these things is if you subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. That's how you'll get notified on when we go live. So please go ahead and do that straight away. What you also need to do is download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And also, if you want to help us out, become a part of the Patron crew. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. There's loads of things that we want to do to reward you guys as patrons if you join up. So go ahead and do so. We want to start rewarding people after we get the 20 Patreon mark. So please go ahead and be a part of that right away. Also, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. This show will be all about the T20 series against India, and we will be previewing this particular match. We'll be talking about who we'd like to see play. Obviously, I'll show you guys the squads again, the fixtures, and we'll also go into an interview that David Miller had this afternoon. So we'll go into that a little bit in depth and go through what was said in that particular interview. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. But this is our preview show. So I'm going to change the graphics to make sure that you guys know what it is. We'll be talking about what is going to be happening in the India series, or what we think is going to be happening, what we expect from the show. I've got Werner with me. I've got INDvSA with me. We're going to be discussing this particular series. And we're also going to do a review or a reaction, to David Miller's press conference. So you'll see that a little bit later towards the end of the show to see what he had to say. First and foremost, let's get into everybody's thoughts on the India series. Let's start with INDvSA and then move on to Werner. What are you guys expecting? What do you guys want to see in this particular series? I want to start with the India perspective first and foremost, INDvSA. So go ahead, what you think you're going to see from the India perspective. Let's get that out of the way, and then we can start talking about South Africa in depth. So start with India. What are you expecting from your India side? Obviously, we know that it's going to be a fresh side, some new faces. So give us some insight into what you expect from this.
I don't want to say that they're new faces. I think they're faces that we don't commonly see in the best Indian 11. Because if Ruturaj Gaikwad opens the batting with KL Rahul, we've seen a fair bit of Ruturaj Gaikwad. Similarly, at the international level, obviously he's inexperienced, but he's a quality cricketer, and if he on his day he can come good. But what I think is that the Indian team is going to be looking at ensuring that its bench strength is well prepared and they understand their roles well, because when they go for the World Cup, they want to have battle-hardened 20 cricketers, ready to perform in Australia if the top team doesn't perform. So I think that's the mindset that the Indian team is going to go with, and obviously they'd want to win, but I do think that they want to make sure that even the bench strength is well looked after.
What is your biggest worries about India, Werner? You've obviously seen the squad, etc. What is your thoughts? Who are some of the danger men in that particular team?
Plenty of danger men as always. I think Hardik Pandya will probably play a bit of a different role again now than he did for the Titans. He'll probably come in a bit lower, do more of the finishing role he used to do for India. Come back to that. I expect him to do that role. Unless they decide to change things up a bit, that I guess that is a possibility. But based on how their lineup is looking, he'll probably come in at around 6, possibly 5 in lineup, more of that role. And he's very dangerous when he does do that finishing role, doesn't hold back. Maybe Danish Kartik slots into that middle order as well. We saw how well he finished games for RCB, how destructive he was at the back end of any innings. And if he gets that same role, which I suppose I presume he will get, that same type of finisher role, coming in that last 5-6 overs, I think he will be very destructive as well. So I think those are the guys to look out for. Obviously, opening partnerships always important for any team. So KL Rahul, I suspect Ishan Kishan will probably start. Maybe Rudras Gaikwad will get some game time later in the series. Ishan Kishan wasn't on it at his best in the IPL. KL Rahul, hopefully for India, he plays the more destructive type of role that he can play, not that type of. I think that's the problem with him captaining. Really, he really plays within himself, and he looks to carry his bat throughout the innings and looks to go hard at the last couple of overs. While he's more than good enough to go hard at it from early on and still bat long. So I think it's a bit of a mind shift he needs to make. But yeah, I think they have a great team still, despite not having Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli and those likes there. But they weren't even in form, so it might not even be such a bad thing for India that they're not playing right now. So I think they all also have a very strong team, and I like the look of their bowling lineup as well.
Yeah, and I think that will be the biggest, probably the biggest challenge for South Africa is the fact that it's the India bowlers that they maybe not too familiar with some of these guys. Of course, you'll see them IPLs, etc. But the guys that haven't been involved with the IPL, some of these players you won't really, they wouldn't have faced or wouldn't know a lot about it. So it's a good test for the likes of for South Africa. Now, I want to get into the South African squad. Um, this is the squad available for this particular tour. And we can see that a lot of it is a consistent selection from the previous World Cup with a couple of extra names thrown in there. Obviously, you've got the likes of Wayne Parnell, we've got a new guy in Tristan Stubbs, even Heinrich Klaassen coming into the mix. But we've got Lungingiri, Anrik Nokia, Kagiso Rabada as a seam attack, as an experienced seam attack, plus the experience of Keshaf and Tabrei Shamsi as spinners. So there's a lot of experience in this team, and it will give the likes of Tristan Stubbs maybe an opportunity to get a chance. Are you expecting Werner for Tristan to get a chance straight away? Is that something that you would do from the get-go?
I would personally, but I don't see it happening. I expect him to get maybe a couple of games at the back end of the series. I think they'll start off probably with what they think might be their first 11. I hope that they'll open with Temba Bavuma, personally, so that we can have Rassi at 3 and Markram at 4, Miller at 5, dependent on where the innings is. Make sure that Miller comes in. If we don't lose a wicket, more than one wicket, say by the 12th over, then send in Miller. After that, we need to be flexible. But in terms of Tristan Stubbs, I'd love for him to be batting at 6 straight away after Miller. But I don't think they're going to go that way straight away. So I expect him to get maybe the last 2 games of the series.
I think now I hope it stays this way, Aditya. I hope that because in previous times we would say what our best team is, and there was always some sort of excuse or an injury or something that would take us away from seeing our best team ahead of a World Cup. Someone's maybe not available, someone's was rested, something happened, or someone's injured, etc. And then we don't get to see our best team take the field. I think this is the first time we've picked a squad where there are no injuries in the squad. We've heard that this team is quite ready for this particular series, and everybody's available. So I think this will probably be one of the first times that we can actually say, let's see who South Africa really think is their best team with a squad available. Based on what the information that you know so far, I mean, there's been you went to the Temba presser as well. What is your feeling? What do you think South Africa is going to do? Because I think, particularly with the batting, because I think that's more of an issue or up in the air than our bowling attack.
I think based on what Themba said, they want to balance their experienced players with a younger set of players. So what they're trying to do is ensure that they've got um, they've got the opportunity to expand what we would normally refer to as the strongest possible team, and that I think is what South Africa will hope to achieve with this series, because sometimes when you play your best 11, as they did in the previous World Cup, it tends to limit your possibilities if there's an injury or a change in balance or someone is out of form. It puts too much pressure on those 11 players to deliver, and therefore it's important to have good bench strength.
But not only about and I don't think it's not only about personnel that we need to look at. I would like to also see an approach, a certain style or a certain approach to this particular series and this game plan. I want to see players obviously come out and play with freedom. We've heard about this on many shows leading up to this. We've tried to give you some nice behind the scenes insight, guys, so that you can get an understanding of what it means to play with freedom. And we made sure that we try to give you some insight from professional cricketers as well that can give that insight. We also had Devat on the show to be able to give you that insight on what he learned from the Mumbai Indians and all of those guys on playing a natural game. But Werner, South Africa has spoken about it in the past. I mean, it's been spoken about widely in T20 cricket, aggressive and smart and all of these things. Do you feel South Africa have the personnel to be able to put out a team that can play that way? Because I mean, it's one way. Finding a way to win is very important, of course, but it seems to be the consensus among a lot of fans, and we've seen it in the live chat, that they want an attacking brand of cricket as well, and they feel that only an attacking brand of cricket can win you matches and get you over the line. So, what's your thoughts on style of play leading into this World Cup preparation?
Yeah, I agree. This format is the one where you can't be holding back. This is the one where you need to be as attacking and as aggressive as possible. And I do think in the squad we do have the players to take on that style. We'll see if they choose all those players, but um, we definitely have it, and I think do talk a lot about that engine room and the batting lineup, that 4-5-6, and when you have the likes of Markram, Muller, and Klaasen or Stubbs in that middle order, you have that firepower to really put on big scores or chase big scores down. And I do think we do have those players do have that attacking mindset naturally, as does Quinton de Kock. Tembo Vuma has his own style, but he can complement Quinton de Kock as long as he's opening. We can't have a situation like in the World Cup where he was coming in at 4. That just doesn't work. So he needs to be opening at the latest number 3, but that would mean that we're opening with Reza Hendricks again. And nothing against Reza, but that means that that means Rossi's coming in at 4, which is a spot low in my opinion. That means Markram is coming at 5. Miller 6. That it all shifts down a spot, and it just doesn't make sense in my opinion. So, as long as we get our batting lineup right and pick the right players, I do think we have the right squad, the right players to implement an attacking brand.
So we speak a lot about what we need to do to get the best out of our players. That's something that we all want to get because we've got a lot of versatile players in the side. And a lot of the time we speak about getting the best out of X. You need to move him up the order. Now, you can't move everybody up the order necessarily because they're all going to be all over the place. Some people fall out the the side. But if you
Eight
look
openers.
yeah. So, my question is, I feel that there are 3 key players, or you could say attacking players in this team. For me, it's Quinton de Kock, it's Aiden Markram and it's David Miller that we kind of need to build our strategy around. Now, in between that, you've got certain filler batters, or sometimes people would say anchors, or people that take a slower start who have slower starts in the game to get themselves going. That is the likes of Temba Bavuma, Riza Hendricks if he gets selected, and then you've got the likes of Rassi van der Dussen who takes their time. Let me ask you guys, and I think it's for every single player it will be different. But Aditya, you've seen Aiden in the IPL recently, carrying over his performances from the World Cup. Now, in the World Cup, he performed the best when he had that freedom to come out and just play a natural game. Team is under pressure, needed him to score runs, he did it. Similarly, at the IPL, similar things happened. How do you feel we can get the best out of Aiden? And then I want you to move on, and then we can move on to the other two as well after this. But let's start with Aiden Markram first, because I feel that that middle order is so important to decide what we're going to do with him. With people asking for David Miller to bat at 4, that means Aiden has to either go to 5 or at 3. It's one or the other. I don't see him as low as 6. So how do you get the best out of Aiden? Because he's such an important, integral part of this T20 side.
Well, make sure you're not 10 for 2 after 3 overs. Starters, that would help. Uh, because if you want to get the best out of Aiden, to me, was it the game against the West Indies that Aiden just came in and started smacking first ball, and he ended up with 50 odd of 24, 25 balls. You know, that's Aiden, and when you've got a platform, perhaps you're 80 for 2 after 9 overs, and you get Aiden Markram in. I think that's where he's at his most dangerous, and it's important to give him a platform. It's not like he's incapable of building a platform, but if Aiden Markram is building a platform, he needs to be opening the batting. But if you want him to score at a strike rate of 200, then give him a good platform so that he can launch. And that, I think, if you look at the Sunrisers Hyderabad, particularly the games that they did well, it worked was when Abhishek Sharma got a decent score, Rahul Tripathi was in good form, and Aiden Markram was able to settle in, and thereafter he took over. So I think that's the sort of role clarity that Aiden Markram needs. And if South Africa's openers and number 3 are in good form, then I think we'll end up seeing the best of Aiden Markram.
Now, there are some fans, Werner, that want Aiden to bat as an opener. Can you see that happening? Can you see him maybe being that partner for Quinton de Kock? Because Aiden Markram is the type of player that I feel can adapt his game. He can play a deep innings, and he can also go quickly and attack. What's your thoughts on that?
Initially, I was against Aiden Markram dropping down the order, to be honest, because he was doing so well against Pakistan in that T20 series in South Africa. I think he made 350s in a row at the strike rate of almost 200. And then they said, okay, wait, we need to fit in more openers, so let's shift him down. And at that stage, I was like, what the heck are you doing? We don't need more openers. What we need is proper middle order strikers. And then now you decide, okay, no, let's shift the one guy that's doing well as opener down. But anyway, it worked out well, I suppose. He's been doing well in that middle order for us. He was magnificent in the T20 World Cup. So I don't see them going back to him opening. I think at this stage it's between Bavuma and Riza to partner with Quinny. I wanted to be Temba, just because of the lineup I talked about earlier. I feel like that is the way we should go. So I don't see them going back to Aiden opening.
And then we've got another guy, much talked about, Quinton de Kock. I would like to speak about him too, because Quinton is a type of player that I've spoken about on the channel previously. I said we need to try and get the best out of him, because if you maximize the power play with Quinton de Kock at the crease, you end up on the winning side more often than not. And I feel that South Africa need to prioritize that with regards to picking his opening partner. Now, what is your thoughts, Vern, on that? Because we never got you on the show to actually speak about this specifically. And I wanted to know your thoughts on Quinton and why you think Temba would be the best option as an opening partner out of Riza Hendricks. And maybe even some people were throwing Rassi into the mix as an option for opener as well. So what is your thoughts on getting the best out of Quinton de Kock? What would your instructions be as a coach to him?
I think he just needs to play his game. Don't get into his head. Just let him play his natural game. Let him be free flowing. I think the reason why it's good to have Timba or somebody fairly solid at the other end is just to hold up one end in terms of not losing a wicket, just forming a partnership. Because if you start losing wickets at the other end, Quinton de Kock is going to rein himself back a bit and he isn't going to play that free flowing game. But if Timba's at the other end, going at a strike rate of 125, 130, which is all right, that is good enough when you know Quinton de Kock can go at 150, 160 at the other end. So and obviously they have a good understanding between the two of them. We've seen them open in one day internationals in the past as well. And T20s, he's a good sounding board, I think, for Quinton de Kock. I know Quinny doesn't talk too much, but I think Timba is a good guy just to have that bit of composure at the other end, a nice calming influence. Not that you want Quinton de Kock to calm himself, but just to assess the situation from where you are. I think Quinn is also at his best when we are setting totals. When he isn't chasing anything, when he's just out there playing his game. But yeah, so I think Temba will be the right opener for him based on the squad.
You see, we've got two different scenarios, Aditya, that we see with Quinton de Kock. And that is either you see him being boggled down and then he gets frustrated and then he plays a stupid shot and goes out, or he tries to go too early and then he plays a stupid shot and he goes out. The other scenario is he plays a free-flowing game and he bats pretty deep, most likely to the 12th over, the 15th over normally. That's what we'll see if he's doing really, really well. So how do we prevent the other two? Because both of the other two scenarios that I mentioned, it depends on who's on the other end with him. I feel that triggers what he does. I feel definitely when he has a younger guy at the other end that is going as quickly as he wants to go, it almost feels like he tries and force it as well to try and match it instead of just sitting back, because he's not a guy that sits back and just waits and watches at the other end as the other guy explodes unless he is in a comfortable position himself. So based on what you've seen at Mumbai Indians first, let's start there with the relationship that he built with Rohit Sharma. And based on what you've seen now with KL Rahul, how do you feel that these franchises, because when it comes to international cricket, especially in knockout games and in World Cups, Quinton de Kock hasn't come to the party. What is your thoughts on that? Because majority of the times that I've seen Quinton de Kock get runs is when he's lost his opening partner.
Well, I think Temba can help him there, because what we've seen certainly in ODI cricket is that Temba and Quinton run between the wickets well, really well. I think Quinton de Kock is rotating his strike best when Temba Bavuma is batting at the other end. And it's hard to compare with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, because they're all different players, right? They have more of a power game than Temba does. But a couple of things that might work in South Africa's favor is that if they run well, that would be great. And second, in addition to Quinton taking on the bowlers, which we know is his natural game, Temba also needs to take on the bowlers, because when both ends are going for runs, that makes it very difficult for the fielding captain to control the flow of runs. And on the other hand, if you have Quinton de Kock going, but Temba not being able to go at a similar pace, then that starts putting pressure on the batting lineup, and it emboldens the bowlers to set attacking fields for a longer period of time. So if I were Mark Boucher or Temba Bavuma at this point, I think that's what my my strategy would be, which is to ensure that if Quinton de Kock is able to milk 7 or 8 runs and over, Temba Bavuma is able to do the same at the other end.
Werner, I want to ask you now, having someone exactly like Quinton de Kock at the other end, can you see that working?
Who's exactly like Quinton de Kock is the question.
Well, someone that
But
plays as proactively as him.
it could work. I personally would have loved to see Aiden Markram and Quinton de Kock opening. I think that would be destructive. But yeah, it could work. You know, it depends. Let's say somebody like a Riley Rousseau was opening with Quinton de Kock. It could potentially work. He's also very destructive, but he's also very good between the wickets. I think that's the key thing. It's not only being able to strike it big, is able to rotate the strike constantly, be able to run those seconds, singles and second runs very hard. I think Temba Bavuma, yeah, I still don't see him out and out as a T20 player. I think he still has a lot to prove as a T20 batter. But he is the captain, so it's important that he needs to front up now and really show what he is capable of. We have seen what he can do with the Lions, and I think he needs to go hard in the power play, especially because we do know he doesn't quite have the power game that somebody like a Miller or a Markram does. So it's important that he really, really does utilize that power play well. He needs to hit plenty of boundaries within the power play, go over the top while the fielders are in, make sure he gets off to a good start. If he then gets out after the power play, it's not necessarily the worst thing. So it's important that he is as proactive as Quinton.
Now, proactivity also, like what I want to prevent is having one person at the other end just ball watching. You know, that's what I want to prevent happening. And it's particularly, I don't want that to happen to Quinton. So for me personally, if there's a guy that is going to take the strike and dominate in the power play, and he's facing the majority of the balls, that's when Quinton de Kock tends to get a little bit frustrated, and then he gets a bit reckless after the power play if he's still waiting after the power play to get the decent runs on the board. So I'm worried about. I just want to maintain that, and I would hope that Quinton would have that maturity on his own, you know. But it's just playing a natural game comes with certain aspects of the game as well. You can't deny that. And I agree with you there, Werner. I don't think that Temba Bavuma's T20 game necessarily is something that we can say, you know, he's the first person on the team sheet. He hasn't shown it yet. I don't think he's played enough games to be able to show that. And he hasn't played enough games as a specialist opener. I think they've confused everybody to the point that Temba himself doesn't know where he should bat as a captain. I mean, we had a whole press conference about it where Temba was like, I don't know, maybe I should open, maybe I don't know if I shouldn't, or what should be the case.
Imagine going through a whole World Cup and still not figuring out where you should be batting as captain. It just seems so strange to me. But yeah,
You know, I think one of the challenges with South Africa is that in the power play, if you're 6 overs, 60 for 2, that's fine, because you've taken advantage of the power play, going at 10 runs and over. South Africa's problem is that 6 overs, 36 for 2. You know, and that's a position where it becomes very difficult for the middle order to really capitalize, because you neither have time nor do you have the wickets. So I think that's the sort of situation that you need to sort of avoid, where it's okay if you're 6 overs, 60 for 2, or even 60 for 3, but don't be 6 overs, 36 for 2. That's problematic because, you know, sure, you may have 8 wickets in hand and you're giving Aiden Markram the opportunity to bat, but you know, you have to have that balance between run rate and wickets lost.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I forget if I'm muted or not. Werner's internet is giving a little bit of issues. He's going to try to get back on again. Lorenzo, I see you say, but Khalid, look at Australia who open with Warner and Finch, and that works. So I just want to have a look quickly. I haven't checked it before. Yeah, you seem to be correct with regards to that. They have an excellent opening stand and a good strike rate too as an opening partnership. But for me, David Warner and Aaron Finch are in my eyes, very similar in the approach of the game. And there also is a very good understanding between the two batters who have batted for quite some time together. I mean, in T20 cricket, they've played 21 games together and they average 74. So it's an excellent opening partnership that they've found and landed upon. It hasn't necessarily been always the case. David Warner's other partners, the other. Wait, that's wrong. That's wrong what I'm reading to you guys. Sorry. That is completely wrong that I'm reading you. Why did they change this whole bloody thing? Um, I want to see the partnerships between the two. I just want to see what their partnership stats are. So I'm just going to go check quickly if I can figure that out quickly on Cricinfo. To see if I can find that. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here, Aditya. T20I. Oh. Let me go to this. How does this stats? I don't know how this thing works anymore. They changed the entire site, so I'm not 100% sure how it actually works anymore. Lord have mercy on my soul. Yeah, okay. Let me get back to you. When someone else is talking, I'll try to figure it out. But in the World Cup, uh, if I remember correctly, Aaron Finch didn't really necessarily lost so many games with David Warner. He lost his wicket quite a bit, and David Warner actually played a massive key role in that World Cup to get them over the line or to set up the Australia innings. And then you've had your big hitters in the middle overs and at the end. That really gave Australia that edge. So I wouldn't put their success on the World Cup down to their opening partnership. Where I do feel South Africa's success depends on Quinton de Kock's performances if he's playing and if he's in form. Because we struggle and it's a lot harder for us when we lose him early and we lose our other opener. So that is kind of the key problem.
I think the problem is that if your opener is if your opener goes out 0 for 1 ball, that's okay, because what can you say? That ball was too good. The batter didn't have the opportunity to really get his eye in. He got out. That's fine. New player comes in. But I think what is really damaging to a team is particularly when an opener is batting on 10 of 12 balls. That's when you have a problem, because your 10 of 12 balls, you're under pressure and then you get out. That's when trouble starts. So with Aaron Finch, even though he wasn't performing at his best, his other opener, David Warner, was brilliant, and his number 3, Mitch Marsh, was brilliant. So it covered up for Aaron Finch's poor form. But what happens with South Africa, and I'll repeat, is that you don't want a situation where your openers have struggled to get going and you've lost 2 wickets, but they've also taken up a few deliveries. Because then that puts additional pressure on the remaining batters.
Yeah, and that's why I say we need to understand roles. We've spoken about it so many times. Roles are so important. What are each individual player's roles in the team? What are they trying to do to achieve what they're trying to achieve? Because it's all good seeing players come out and doing whatever they want to do personally and then leaving again. I want to see consistency in a style of play and a mentality, and then picking the personnel that's suited. Now, Temo Bavuma is our captain, and it is what it is, and we need to obviously accept that. But it's tough to see. Um, it's tough to see what is wrong with it, because and where we can improve, because we've never kept the consistency when it comes to certain players. Never. There's always Quinton de Kock always seems to have a different opening partner every single time we come to a new tournament or a new series. It always seems to be the case. So I really would like to to see a difference in that. I would like to see some consistency going into this World Cup, of course. That's very important, in my opinion, because yeah, we don't often see it. When it comes to the two, when it comes to South Africa, we it's not always very consistent with regards to setting up targets or chasing. Now, there's another guy we want to talk about, and that's David Miller. But I think before we start talking about David Miller, I think let's react to his presser. Or not a presser, but he gave a little interview today. Let's have a look at what he had to say in today's interview. I think Aditya, let's watch it through. React. You can laugh. You can laugh and do whatever. You can tell me when to pause if there's a specific thing that you want to say, like we've normally been doing.
Thank you for giving us your time today. First of all, how are you feeling just physically after having such a high workload in the IPL and now making your way back into India for this 5-match T20 series?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite challenging. Obviously, 2 months of IPL, been quite busy with a lot of games, but yeah, I feel been working really hard the last couple of years with my my physical side of things, and yeah, I feel good to go, fresh, ready to go. Had a two-day break in the Maldives, so that was pretty good for the mind. But
Nice.
yeah, back into the swing of things here and really feeling good.
I can imagine 2 days in the Maldives would have really invigorated the mind. You had a bit of time, even though it was 2 days, just to reflect on all of the goodness that has taken place, especially in the IPL. What are some of the highlights from your performance in the IPL, and what are you looking forward to in this tour?
Yeah, I mean, obviously scoring the amount of runs that I did, closing out a couple games for the team throughout the IPL was something that I look forward to before the IPL. I mean, batting in the middle order, you always do want to finish off games, so I do pride myself on that, and it was nice to tick that box. Along with that, yeah, being successful as a team and winning the trophy was definitely a highlight. And looking into the series now, you know, I want to do much the same. I mean, that's been my objective and goal for many years now, to try and win games for the team. Really enjoy the space that I'm in, along with the experience that we have with the guys now. We've been playing for a couple of years together and building up a really nice, strong team.
A lot of people were obviously really excited and have had a lot of good things to say about your performance in the IPL, but you've been finishing very close games for the Proteas for quite some time now. Was there a mental shift, or was there anything that you've done to work on that particular part of the match situation?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've done anything differently. I think you know, being around for a long time now, one does develop and grows and gets, you know, matures in the role that I've been playing for so many years. So I think it's more just understanding my game a lot better. You know, going into games, I still get nervous. I still, you know, there's a lot of negative thoughts that go through one's head at times with.
What's happened there? Can you hear anything? Something's happened to the video. Wait, let me see.
Dealing with that pressure a lot better, and thinking a lot clearer and understanding my game better, in what I need to do.
You're obviously the most capped player in this team right now, and you are a seasoned professional. What role do you see yourself playing, especially behind the scenes?
He doesn't like that one.
You do a lot of talking in the change room, and there's a lot of sharing of information. Just what role do you see yourself in, and how are you enjoying this new phase of your career?
I'm enjoying it a lot. I think, you know, it has been a long time, but like I mentioned, it's an exciting group of guys that we've got here, mixed with some experience, a lot of experienced guys, and a couple of young guys that have come through. So for me, I just see myself as a calming effect, just to try and create that calmness in the change room. Trying to just clarify a few things with the younger guys as to what they need to do, what trying to build those relationships a lot better. And yeah, I mean, it's really enjoyable to be giving advice and what sharing my experience, but along with that, you're always developing as a player and trying to learn. And it's actually quite exciting to learn from the youngsters as well, just to find out their mindsets, how they approach the game. So yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying this space, and hopefully we can amalgamate really well together.
I'm very excited about him and Stubbs, what they're going to learn from each other. I think that's probably the main youngster I would like to see him bounce ideas off and learning from. What's your thoughts on that, Aditya?
Yeah, it's something we've been talking about for quite a while, right? Having Miller and Stubbs in the same team, and there's no rule that you can't have two finishers in the same team, isn't it? So, uh, yeah, I think it'd be great to have them. And the advantage with Miller is that he can he can obviously come in and start launching in the 15th over, but he's equally effective if he comes in the fifth over because he can build in innings. So, if so, it gives that security to Stubbs. If Stubbs is promoted up the order or if Miller is batting up the order.
Sorry, I'm just going to put someone in timeout because of the spamming. Please don't spam your questions in. Send it in once, and if we get to it, we get to it. If you want us to see it, super chat your questions in. Do not make the chat. Do not disrupt the chat, please. With spamming of questions, please. I don't want our live chat to be like that. Anyway, you'll be timed out for 5 minutes. Put you in the naughty corner. Come back if you want us to read your question out. Get to the super chat and ask us your questions. Vernon, do you want anything to say on that? Do you have anything to say on that particular first segment of what David Miller had to say?
He seems very calm, doesn't he? He doesn't seem very enthusiastic in this interview. But in any case, I think he'll take a lot of confidence from the IPL, and I think he's looking confident, and I think it'll stand us in good stead in this series. And I do think Tristan Stubbs would learn a lot from him. But if you look at that CSA T20 challenge stats, it was basically Tristan Stubbs was the guy who was striking it the best, and then it was David Miller. So yeah, as Aditya says, there's nothing that says that you can't have two finishers in your lineup. I think we're a bit behind the rest of the world who already have two or three finishers in their lineup. So it'll be good to see them playing together. So hopefully at least two. I've said that at some stage as well. I hope Tristan Stubbs gets at least 2 matches to play.
It's a weird situation because South Africa talk about they need to find their right formations or not formations, but their right lineup. What player needs to play in what personnel? Then we say, we need a finisher. We need a finisher. We've been talking about it for years and all of this type of things, and we've been asking, David Miller, can he be the guy? He finally is the guy. Yeah, we pick him as that guy, and then all of a sudden we bring someone else in that can compete with him for that particular position. And now we're saying maybe you should move up to 4. So we always changing our mindsets on different things. It's the same with the opening position. First and foremost, at the beginning we were like, no, Temba is to open. He needs to be the opener with Quinton de Kock. He gets an opportunity to open, gets injured, gets dropped out to the side, comes back into the side. Now he's a floater. Now I'm like. And then you bring in 2 extra openers into the squad. I'm like, I don't understand what the thought process behind all of this is. I want to see a clear plan. And is that asking too much as a cricket fan to see a clear plan of direction?
No, my mindset with Miller has always been the same. He needs a lot more time at the crease.
I'm not talking about you because you've been consistent, but I'm talking about general public.
I don't want to see him come in with 2 overs or 3 overs to go unless we haven't lost a wicket. Then it's fine, and obviously. But we can't have a set rule that he comes in at 5 or he comes. I hopefully never again at 6. But let's yeah. So hopefully we have that mindset that a specific amount of overs or a specific time in the game that okay, yes, it's time to send Miller in. Give him time to set first. Give him 10, 12 balls to get his eye in, get himself going. Then he is as destructive as any player in the world. So hopefully we have that mindset with him. Don't give him a set. This is where you bat, and nothing can change. Either you're coming in there or you're coming in a little bit earlier. But at the World Cup, seeing him coming in at 6, it really wasn't good to see. And and then people say, well, he wasn't that good at the World Cup. But then what is he supposed to do coming in at 6 with 2 overs to go? We saw him winning that game against Sri Lanka with Rabada at the back end. And that's exactly what he can do, but only if he's given the opportunity.
But isn't that the thing about T20 cricket? If you have more time, you'll do well. So, like, I think any of our batters, even if you give Aiden more time, you'll do a similar role. I feel to someone like similar
That
to something like David. I mean, maybe David is a little bit more destructive with his approach, but Aiden, give him more time, you'll push at the back end. Drasi, give him more time, you'll push at the back end. You'll bat through the overs. So we're asking the same thing from David Miller right now. To bat higher up, get more balls, and then push at the back end. So, what is the right thing to do? Is the question over there.
but the thing is that's not a universal solution though. It's not that I don't think every T20 batter is more comfortable facing more deliveries. I, you look
Exactly.
at Dinesh
Take
Karthik.
Dinesh. I was going to say the same thing. All right, go on. Go ahead.
Dinesh Karthik is an example of that, right? He's much more effective when he comes in around the 15th over, for example, as opposed to the 6th or the 7th over. His evolved to that point where there's enough statistical evidence to indicate that Dinesh Karthik is better off coming in, fulfilling the role of a finisher, smack it around past the 15th over. Similarly, I think that question was asked of Andre Russell, that what's his ideal time to get into the game as a batter? And he said that his preferred time is the 13th over. That's when he likes to come. So if Andre Russell is coming in the 5th to 6th over, he probably would not be as effective as opposed to him coming in the 13th or the 14th over. So I'm not sure that principle has universal applicability. I think David Miller just happens to be the sort of player that can do both situations well. But in saying that, South Africa don't want to be in a position where they've held on to wickets till the 17th over, but they're still going at 7.5 runs and over. I think that's the sort of situation that you want to avoid.
Yeah.
Because if your openers are batting for 17 overs, it's okay if they're going at 10 or 11 runs and over. But I don't think it's okay if they're going at 7.5, 8 runs and over, because then it means that they haven't taken enough risk.
And that's actually what we actually want to see. We want to end a power play knowing that we took the risk that was available. Or we took enough risk to actually give ourselves the best chance of coming out of that power play with some decent runs. Let's continue with what David had to say.
Temba mentioned recently that having you back in the team off the back of your really great performance in the IPL is something that the team can carry a lot of confidence going into this tour. Does that put any weight on your shoulders at all? Do you feel any kind of pressure?
No, it's not any extra pressure or weight on my shoulders. I feel, every international game that I've played, regardless of what kind of responsibility I have, senior or junior, there's always a sense of pressure. So I don't think it changes at all. As I mentioned, it's just, with the experience that I have now, I deal with that a lot better. So, it's quite a nice feeling to know that I've been at the IPL for many years and can impart a lot of knowledge onto Temba and the team. But saying that, there's quite a few guys that have also been playing IPL. So as a team, we've got a lot of experience and in the change room, and it's a good place to be in.
Did you know that you're 5 matches away from your 100th T20 international?
I actually didn't know that. So hopefully I play every game here, and it's my 100th on this tour.
What does that mean to you, just knowing that you are going to be South Africa's most capped T20 international, and also
Feel
the
older.
fact that you've played so many matches for your country?
Yeah, I mean it's been a long time. I must be honest. I always wanted to play for my country, growing up, but you never quite understand how much you have to sacrifice and what you have to give to get there. And I think looking back on my career, I never ever dreamed of playing this amount of this many games for my country. So it's a great honor, and I mean, really chuffed to have walked the journey. As you play, different goals come into play. You start realigning certain things, and take season by season. So it has been a long time, and I mean it's a great honor to. Well, it will be when I tick off that 100th game.
I don't think our public or our fans, or not all of it, obviously this is generalization now, might not even be a generalization actually. It's just some parts of the fan base. I don't think we as South Africans, or let's say South Africans maybe, don't take appreciation. They do not appreciate our cricketers enough and the sacrifices they actually make to play the sport. Cricket is not a game for the light-hearted. It's a lot of hours away from your family and away from normal life. You're on the field all day in the sun. When you're practicing, it's long hours as well. When you need to perfect your discipline, it's also long hours, especially as a batter and bowler. As a fielder, maybe you don't spend as much time, maybe if you're just doing your fielding, etc. But specific disciplines are obviously to specialize. It takes a lot of time to be out there in the middle. Compared to any other sport, I would say, other than obviously maybe our Olympic swimmers, perhaps our golfers as well. They probably spend a similar amount of times out away and out there. But the pressures of cricket, the mental battles that you go through to try and be as perfect as possible, because it's almost impossible to be perfect in cricket. It's very difficult. I mean, in other games, for example, even in football, you can still be considered to have a perfect performance, even though you've had a horrible game. You can still get goals, assists to put you in the stats. Within cricket, when you fail, you haven't scored runs or you haven't taken wickets, so it goes down as a blip, and that happens more often than not in cricket. So, yeah, I think we should maybe just show a little bit more appreciation to our cricketers. But let's move on, and for the sacrifices that they do make, and you can hear in what Murray had to say. It's been a long time of sacrifice, etc.
What does being a Protea mean to you? You're still very passionate when you speak about wearing that badge.
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, I think I love. I mean, we're very proud. We're sorry.
Yeah. You can go again.
I mean, it means a lot. I think as a sporting nation in South Africa, a lot of people, they wear their heart on their sleeve, and they love sport. So I mean, I've always enjoyed it, and to play for my country and represent so many people back at home, my family, my friends, and the people that I don't know that are supporting. It is really. It's amazing. Like it's a cool responsibility, and what I enjoy the most is that when we do well as a team, it brings a lot of energy and positive vibes back in the country, and we can influence a lot of people through our performances, and give people hope. So it's very, very cool.
Fantastic. And just looking ahead to this tour, quite a lot of people have been writing around how India is not playing a full-strength team, but Team India is Team India, right?
Yeah, I mean it is. You're right. Team India is Team India. So I think India over the last couple of years,
Team India,
they've got a lot of depth. Very experienced players, and dealing with a lot of pressure at the IPL will definitely help them in international cricket. So we definitely know that. I mean, they don't have their strongest team, but they a serious team nonetheless, and they've got some serious match winners, and it's going to be a challenging series, and we're well aware of that. and yeah, it's always nice to play in India against India. Um, so hopefully it can be a nice competitive series, and we can beat them.
Yeah, a lot of nothing said actually. That's what that's what's gonna happen when we do these reactions to these shows. If you guys still enjoy it, let me know. Otherwise, I'll go and watch it and take out the clips and we speak about only the clips. I just thought it would be quite hilarious to see us react to it raw and see what we think live on the show. If you guys prefer that, this what we're doing here, let me know. If you don't, and you want me to do the extra work and cut clips that I think are most important, then let me know in the live comments or in the comment section if you want to see that going forward. But okay, let's wrap this up. We've heard what David had to say. We've heard what Temba has had to say. We've heard what Tristan Stubbs has had to say. We know that South Africa is obviously going to want to win the series. We understand the importance. What is that? Oh, you're sharing your screen. I'm sorry, what happened, Werner? Were you...
I was trying something out.
Oh, cool. You can share
Just
your screen
ignore
if
me.
you. Okay. You can share your screen if you want to. But yeah, what is your thoughts on your overall thoughts? Did we know that you think it's going to be a 3-0 whitewash to India?
It's gonna struggle if it's a 5-match
Was it
series.
five? I mean, the 5-0 whitewash to the States.
No, I think I said 4-1. 4-1.
It's 4-1. Okay, you got
Yeah.
you got a 4-1. Werner, where you sitting on a 6-0?
Yeah, 7-0, no problems. I'd say. What do you think, Aditya? Is it going to rain in this series? Probably not, right? Not enough to not have a game.
I think it might be a possibility. It might be a possibility. It's hard to tell because the rains are expected to come in earlier this year.
All right, we'll see. Let's make it 2-2 if there's enough rain. I think there'll be at least a 5-over game or a super over or something. So let's make it 3-2 for South Africa. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Okay, cool. I'm going for a little bit more of a bold choice here. I think South Africa is going to start slowly, lose the first game. As they always do, start slowly in games. I think, yeah, I like your scoreline. I like your 3-2, Werner. I do think India will beat us twice. It could even be the first two games as South Africa start to heat up as a unit. I'm going to go with 3-2. I think that South Africa will win the series with the right application and the right mindset and going into this strongly. I'm hoping that is the case. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning into our preview. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. We'll be doing reviews after every show. After every game. So stay tuned for that. So Thursday we'll have, dependable on the times of the matches, of course, we'll decide. If it ends too late, the games, then we probably won't do a preview the evening. We'll have to do it the next day and talk about the game and do like a preview show the next day on this regular slot. What I want you guys to know is that tomorrow we'll be doing a fun show. It's going to be a little game we'll play with you guys where you get involved and pick your 11. We're going to do it again using the polls to see what you guys come up with. And at the end, if you guys want me to change any names, we'll be playing that super chat game. So we'll first start off by getting an understanding by doing the poll, by picking the 1 till 11, and after that selection has been picked, after that has been picked, then we will go and do our voting system. So let's see what happens. 3:30 start, says Lawrence Bailey. Yeah, we could do a preview show straight after the game.
Yeah, 3:50 starts is right. It'll be great to see South Africa finally playing in front of a full crowd again.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I got a taste of this whole crowd situation when I went to the rugby. It was nice to see that. Yes, yes, I know I banned you, so let's read out your question. Did you hear about Malik bowling 163 kilometers per hour through the nets and practice session today? Is it true? Does he deserve a chance in the first match? What is your thoughts? Did you ever heard anything there floating around in India?
No, brother, I don't know about the 163 Ks. I would imagine he's preserving that energy for the game. Uh, but does he deserve an opportunity in the first game? Yeah, I mean, it would be good, but look, I think Umran Malik has to be used wisely. For I love his speed. It's electric. I mean, he's Umran Malik is electric, and I've watched him live, so I know the adrenaline rush that you get when he bowls. Having said that, most of the awards that he got for fastest ball of the game were balls that went for boundaries. So that's not ideal, and eventually, with time, as he does gain control and is able to use that pace to greater effect, he's going to be a handful. But I would love to see him bowl 163 in Test matches, ODIs, and T20s.
I'd love
Imagine
to
if it was
see Quentin de
160.
Kock scooping
Okay.
163 for six over his right shoulder.
That'd be crazy. Yeah?
I can
I would
see
like
it
to
happening.
I would like to see Bavuma kick that ball for six.
Because you remember when England were touring here and Jofra Archer was actually not injured, he was bowling mid 150s and Quentin de Kock kept scooping him over the fine leg boundary for six, and it was very entertaining. Even in the test matches, I enjoyed that very much. So hopefully Quentin de Kock comes out firing in the way he did for Little Lucknow Super Giants. So I'm really hoping for that in a great series.
Hmm. Lawrence Bailey asks, Dicha, will we be playing at the new stadium?
Where exactly?
I'm thinking he's probably thinking Ahmedabad, but I don't think they are.
No. There's a bunch of new stadiums. There's a new one in Lucknow as well. So yeah,
Yeah, but it's hard
that's
to
now
look past
become
a stadium that can fit 110,000 people.
its capacity is 132,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, if you're not taking
My
in
lord.
all the security guards and all the extra media people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the official seat count is 132,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
crazy.
Incredible. So
Insane,
that means
largest stadium in the world.
there must be like 150,000 capacity then in total after you take into account. Or not 150, maybe that's too much. Maybe 135, 136, maybe in total.
No, it is like the max capacity is 132, and then you
That's
end up
seating?
filling about 100. Yeah, that's seating. 132,000 is seating, and that's where you fill up about 110,000 people plus your
The
media
extras.
and security and all of that stuff.
Okay.
So
Imagine
that
how it would
20,000.
imagine how it would look if we had that size stadium at Durban, where there usually ends up coming like 15% crowd. In it would be such a waste. It's a good thing that it's in India.
Yeah, well, I mean, gee I wish we could have that amount of supporters watching our sport in this country. Jeez.
I
You
mean, I
need to
think the
get
biggest
that.
challenge there would be parking, man. Can you imagine parking?
Yeah,
getting
need to
getting
get
to the stadium.
we need to get this T20 tournament for South Africa. We need to get it going proper to get some fans in the stands. So hopefully they get the time slot sorted. They get the player availability sorted so that we can have a decent tournament. Because at the very least they do have it privatized now, which is good. So there will be a bit more money in it. But they need to figure the other stuff out to get fans back in the stadiums.
Yeah, so guys, that's all we have for you today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You know what to do with regards to everything. I've already given all my requests out to you guys. Obviously, the Patreon account, get involved, get download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine. All the links, click on all of the links in the description. go ahead and follow us and and there's a PayPal link as well if you want to donate something to me and give me a special birthday present or a midterm present, whatever the case may be. The PayPal account link is there as well for you guys if you want to do some special prizes. I've seen a lot of other channels have been doing that too, so I just thought I'll copy them, see how many of you guys will actually contribute and start paying there, or you can become a patron today. Don't forget about those super chats, guys, on our shows. It really helps the channel when you guys get involved with the super chats. It really, really does. It pushes us with regards to income and keeping everything afloat. So please do get involved with all the payment options that are available to you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Just to finally end of everything, these are the fixtures for the T20s. You've got the first one at 3:30 p.m. As was already said. Then you've got the second on the 12th of June, and you've got the third on the 14th, the fourth on the 17th, and the fifth on the 19th of June. So it's going to be a very, very entertaining clash. 3 days between each clash, except on the Sunday, Tuesday one, of course. So guys, looking forward to this. I'm really going to be enjoying watching South Africa perform, see how they do, and I'm hoping it's going to be 3-2 as myself and Werner have this thought that we will get, whereas we hope that it's not going to be 4-1 to India like Aditya has predicted. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you again tomorrow for our side or 11 selection game that we'll be playing tomorrow on the show. Get your wallets ready for your super chats to change the orders around and to make it crazy. But yeah, we'll be posting both the final verdict as well as the super chat verdict online. So guys, follow us on all social media to see how people react to what you guys have selected. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace and enjoy the rest of your evening.